Hey, everybody, and welcome to our second episode this year of Golf Business Live, powered by Supreme Golf. I am your host, Michael Williams, as always, bringing you all that you need to know about golf course operations, the thing that you love to do, and the thing that I love that you do, which is to make golf available for all of us. We have a great show for you today. We're going to start off with our own, sort of my favorite thing, which is to talk to you, the owners, the members, about this whole golf course business and how it works. It never fails to educate me and to entertain me, and I hope it does the same for you. We call it owner to owner because that's pretty much what it is. These guys talking to you about you and the thing that you do. Joining us here today are two of my favorite people. Justin Smith is the owner of Olde Homestead Golf Club, and of course my good friend Jeff Hoag of Scott Lake Golf Club. Gentlemen, welcome to Golf Business Live. How are you doing?
Doing well here in cold and icy Michigan.
Oh, yeah, we just got 3 inches of snow last night, but doing well here, too.
I wondered about that hat. I wondered if you had moved to Alaska.
Well, I didn't know we were going to be on video. Last time was just audio, so I got a hoodie and a hat on today.
You're looking good.
I love the spirit of competition. Let's get into that. Let's keep that going, okay? It's going to make for an awesome show. And actually, you do. Both you guys live in some cold weather areas. First, because it's always instructive to me to know a little bit about your golf course and how long you've owned it. Justin, I'll start with you. Tell me just a little bit about Olde Homestead as a facility. What is it, and how long have you owned it and operated it?
So we are an 18-hole facility in eastern Pennsylvania. We also have a 9-hole short course and 2 driving ranges all on the property. We have 2 banquet facilities, a cafe with large deck, and my family built the course back in 93, 94, opened 94, 95, but the property's been in my family for about 250 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Jeff, tell me a little bit about Scott Lake. I know a little bit. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, Scott Lake is a 33-hole golf course. We've got a 27-hole regulation golf, a 6-hole short course, a very nice driving range. Been around. Golf course opened in '62, and we're continuing as a family-run operation since then. So, a lot of fun.
Awesome. And as usual, as always, when you talk about the different things that you have on course, you don't have just one business. You have like 5 businesses that you have to run when you talk about food and beverage and driving range and tee times and the whole thing. So let's dive right in, shall we? And I want to talk a little bit about the Golf Business Conference in Florida. We're in Orlando talking about that. Talk a little bit about that experience. Justin, what was that like for you? What were your major takeaways from GBC?
It was a good show, and the fact that I always come back with ideas and inspirations to improve the operation. And as much as the presenters are great, talking to people like Jeff are maybe even more valuable one-on-one, having the back and forth and the unlimited time to address the issues at hand and how they solve challenges at their operations that we may be facing. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought.
And Jeff, I was going to move to you because you actually were a presenter there at the show too. So talk about your experience.
Well, it's always great to meet my fellow operators and owners because I can glean so much information. We share information as much as we can. I always find that conferences it gets over too soon. I'm not quite done listening before it's over. And the opportunity I've had to present to Masterminds of Golf on Sunday has truly been eye-opening in the ability to gather information and help other owners find answers to their questions.
Excellent. And we were talking about Eastern Pennsylvania and Michigan. Obviously, it's cold weather now. It could be it's considered the off season by any stretch, but that doesn't mean that you're not busy. That's one of the things I learned being in operations myself. That's where I started in the game. That that winter time, it's not downtime. It's anything but. What goes on? Like paddling underneath the surface during the off season. Has this off season been any different than any other? Jeff, I'll start with you.
Our off season is really about planning and preparing for next year. The season is intense when you're open from April to November and you're running all the golf rounds that we do. By the time the end of the season comes around, there's painting, cleaning, repairing, improving, getting ready for the next year, along with the fact we found over the last few years for sure, as busy as we are, we can't wait till 2 weeks before something's supposed to happen to start planning for it. We got to be ready for it now and then plug and play when that time comes up. So,
same experience for you, Justin?
Absolutely. The winter is when you put your plan together for the season, and this year's been a little bit more challenging because the weather's actually been rather warm. So we did a lot of golf in January, and we did golf in February, which we never do. So that has pushed the staff behind in some of the planning processes. So we're trying to play catch up, but then you talk about the supply chain, and now we're making decisions for equipment that's 2 years out instead of 1 year out. So we're adding more onto our list this year because we have to plan even further than what we normally do. So I'd say we're a little bit behind, but after we recognize that, we're starting to catch up. But it's a lot of work. I probably work more during the winter intensely than in season when we have all the staff because there's people there to help.
And
I agree.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff, please.
No, I agree. I think it's incredible when you come in after we just got back from the show, from the conference, and said, "Oh, you know what? We're going to have to open in 6 weeks. Are we ready? Are we? My gosh, we got stuff to do yet." And then, as Justin said, it's interesting. We ordered a piece of equipment in April of 2022, thinking it was going to arrive in spring of 2023, and we've been told it's not coming until 2024. And that is just mind-boggling after being in this business for so long in terms of planning. So it's crazy.
Well, let's jump right to that because that sort of points to those supply chain issues that sort of hit for various reasons, and that's a global issue, not just us here in the golf business, but certainly we are affected by it. Have you seen? You just talked about that equipment being delayed by a year, which is stunning. A year late. Is that the norm now, or do you find that for products, for equipment, is the supply chain easing up, better, worse, or pretty much the same as it was the last, let's say, year or 2 years? Jeff, I'll go to you.
I'm not sure. In some areas, it's easing up. I think food and beverage, it's easing up a little bit. But the equipment side, as an example, we had some carts stolen in December. That's another whole story. But we've recovered 2, which is great by the police department. But the other 2 are gone forever. And now to go and try and replace those carts, I'm looking at 2024 delivery. And it's a big scramble out there to figure it out. And for somebody who, in our case, for somebody, we only lost a couple carts, we can manage that. But I have some great sympathy for people who maybe lost their whole fleet from a fire or something of that nature, or maybe made a bad decision by selling their used carts, depending on the delivery of their new carts, and maybe not having them when they want them.
And Justin, I'll say that things like those cart things, I mean, there's a certain number that you need to have just to get people around, but also people upgrade for their carts for the customer experience. I mean, carts get better, and certain carts need to be replaced and things like that. So is that affecting? Number one, are you having the same supply chain issues, and is it affecting are you concerned about how it affects your customer experience?
So I think same as Jeff, food and beverage is catching up, HVAC is catching up, but specifically maintenance equipment is not catching up, and golf cars are not catching up. And now I'm trying to renegotiate a lease for 2024 on our golf carts, which I've been working on for maybe 6 months now. And no one's guaranteeing that they have carts from any of the major manufacturers on time. And so what's happening, I said, okay, let me release or buy my current carts. They put a price to buy my current carts higher than the carts were new 5 years ago.
Wow.
I don't have an option.
Oh my God.
No, I don't. And so I'm stuck. So they keep asking me what I think, and I tell them honestly what I think, which is, I beat them up, but it's not changing anything.
to beat them with that hat, man. You do that.
Well, yeah, this is one of the things that we faced, I'm going to say 15 years ago when we were leasing carts, and it didn't rear its ugly head till just recently, but it did briefly at that point when we were leasing carts, wanted to change carts, and we're told that we could do that, but we couldn't have the equity in the carts, meaning that if we were ahead of the ball game, and said, well, this is crazy. We want to be able to determine our own destiny. And from that point forward, we started to finance and then self-finance and actually pay for carts. So we wouldn't get in that position where we'd have a third party again telling us how to run our operation. And when it rears its ugly head now, and dealers that I've talked to, car dealers, are all telling me the same thing. Without the trades, they won't put a sale contract together.
Huh. Interesting. Well, and I don't want to dwell on the subject too long because there's so much to talk about. But one more question to wrap this issue up. Are you guys being approached? Or are you searching for alternatives to that cart experience? In other words, certainly people can encourage to walk, just that the health benefits of the game to improve your pull carts, push carts, motorized things like MotoCaddy that have were the motorized walking carts for the bag, or even the things that you've seen like scooters and boards and things like that. Are these things coming on your radar at all, Justin?
I've looked at a lot of those. Some of the boards and stuff, they cost as much as a golf cart, but they only hold one person instead of two. So that's double the price of a car. So that doesn't entice me too much. But no, I mean, carts are a big revenue source for us, and we are not a incredibly walker friendly course. We got a lot of hills and undulation. So 96, 97% of our clientele takes carts, and we're gonna have to figure something out.
Okay, Jeff, any alternatives to the cart coming?
Again, a couple of things. Our golf course is also not easy to walk, but we have a fair amount of walkers. But quite frankly, the golfers, most golfers are not looking for that experience of walking. They're not, those healthy people are, but person comes up with a bag and a lot of clubs and some balls, and they got they got their raincoat, and they want to put a 6-pack of beer. They're not interested in pushing a cart or pulling a cart. So yeah, we try to make sure we can service them. So.
Yeah, it's just a situation, an issue that affects everyone. So it's kind of good to hear that maybe that everybody's going through it is the good news, and everybody can commiserate about that. I guess the other thing that's sort of been difficult to source is people other than equipment. You both have sort of family-run businesses, but certainly outside help is getting important as we get closer to the season. Jeff, I'll start with you. In hiring and getting ready for the new season, are you having good luck, good success with finding quality people to run the operation?
Well, I'd say we've worked really hard in the last 10 years or so to make us an employer of choice, that this is a good place to work. And so we have about 70% of our staff returning every year.
Outstanding.
On the other side of that, we have some definite needs, and we're trying to hire people for the maintenance operation. It's a difficult situation right now to finding even applicants, not even talking about qualified applicants, but there's just not many people out there looking to work at a golf course on the grounds. And that'll be our difficult, and we need some people. We need to beef that area up a little bit and actually open up some career positions.
And Justin, what's your situation been like in hiring and sourcing? Lost it.
No, I'm sorry about that. So we're actually doing much better than what we have historically, and that is predominantly because we looked at it during COVID and things weren't working. We used to spend $700 a year on ads, and we were spending $10,000 trying to hire people. And so I said, this is dumb. I don't want to pay Indeed $10,000. I'd rather give it to our staff. So we looked at how many employees we're going to need each year that aren't returning, and we pay our current staff members to fill the roles at the course. And they can make a couple $100 filling roles by just asking a friend. And then we typically get better employees because they understand what we're looking for and what we're about. They're not going to introduce a friend who, quite frankly, they know won't last, or we would fire and judge them negatively because of that. So it's worked really well for us.
That is a great idea, Jeff. I see you nodding. Have you?
Yeah, I'm using that, stealing that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a great idea. Would love to have you back in just to talk a little bit more about how that works out and sort of the success of that. It's really interesting plan, the referral idea. It's really
Sure.
creative there. And sort of in the sort of a couple of practical issues about the golfer experience. Jeff, I think you had talked about tee times, right? I think you have an interest and a passion in tee times, and so do I. I wrote recently about that for Golf Business Magazine, and I think it's key to get that interval right, to get that right, so that you have a good customer experience, you maximize revenue. We know that's a sliding scale. Give me some of your thoughts, Jeff, on tee times, what the sweet spot and intervals are for your place, and how you do the calculation for it.
Well, at the conference, I did a brief explanation of an analysis, but it was interesting. There were some great ideas, and we've come back. And what we have done is there is no such thing as a set pattern of tee times. The idea that everything's got to be an 8-minute or a 9-minute or a 10-minute tee time, that is the old way when you had a paper tee sheet and you had to get them printed. Now with computers, if you want to have a 6-minute tee time to start your day, an 8-minute tee time in the middle of the day, a 10-minute tee time when you're really busy, you can do that all on your computerized tee sheets. And so you get a feel for what you need. And we have a standard practice here. We run 8 to 9 minutes during the heat of our day, but we also know that we need to put a couple starter times in there because we're always on time. It's our golfers that are not on time, and so we always have to deal with that. Hey, where's Joe? Well, he's coming. He'll be here. He's in the parking lot. What parking lot is he in? It's been 10 minutes.
Justin, you got sort of the same thing going on with your tee sheet and your intervals. How do you manage them?
So we similarly, we start out at 9 minutes throughout the day, but we look at each situation, and we got our regular Saturday and Sunday mornings that fly. So we decrease the interval in that period of time for the first hour and a half because we know what's coming. But on the reverse side, when you take a 128-person shotgun tournament, we allocate them an additional 20 minutes just because we know Group 1B starts 9 minutes after Group 1A. So you got to allot for that. And then you also have to allot for when they're done to get up to the parking lot. They're going to socialize a little bit more. So we want that next round of golf after that tournament to go out on time, and we want them to still have a 4-hour and 20-minute round of golf, which
Right.
is what we're committing to.
Right. Again, just sort of the balance in knowing your customers, and this is where the value of your experience comes in, knowing that a certain thing happens after a shotgun, before a shotgun. Things happen in the middle of the day differently on the golf course rather than early morning where your dew sweepers want to get out there and just get after it and get on to work or whatever. So that's where that experience really comes in and is helpful, and it's helping everyone who listens. We got a couple of minutes, so I want to get to a couple of more questions if we can. Justin, I'll start with you. Again, the pandemic was difficult in a lot of ways, but it did bring us a new cohort of golfers. I just want to ask if you had experienced a growth in the game, seeing new golfers, and what are you doing to make sure that those guys, now that the malls are open and other things are there, theaters are open, to keep those guys coming back to the golf course?
So yes, we saw new golfers. So we implemented programs to keep them active. And one of our best programs that we put in place was pay your age. So anyone under the age of 30 can pay their age when they play Monday through Thursday, because that segment doesn't have the disposable income to drop $60, $85, whatever it may be, all the time. But how often were we busy at 11 a.m. on Mondays? Well, now we are. And then, so it's important to design programs for them. But then we also see that golfers as a whole are now playing in weather that they didn't play in previously. And that was just a change in them, not a change in us. So if it would be 95 degrees plus, we'd have a big drop off in play, which we don't now. And if there's a slight chance of rain, people are still coming out. As where before, people were like, I may not play today. There might be a chance of rain. That kind of went away. So then the same thing with the colder temperatures, April and November around here, we see increased play from the same guys who previously wouldn't play in those temperatures.
That's fascinating. Jeff, for you, new golfers, seen a few. How do you plan to make them stick?
Many new golfers. More younger people. People, that missing generation of people, 40 to 50, who we didn't see a lot of. They've come back to the game or come to the game. More women. Again, I would echo Justin's comments about playing outside the weather. I could depend on a day where we had look at a tee sheet and see 6 or 8 groups of women playing golf and know that there's rain in the forecast, that I would lose probably 60% to 80% of those tee times because it might possibly rain. And now we don't even think about it. Those ladies are out there playing golf. They've got rain suits and they've got umbrellas and they bring their towels and they're ready to go. I think the thing that interesting, I just got back from Arizona to looked at some top tracer range setups at Augusta Ranch and then Dobson Ranch and see what's happening there. It was an incredible experience because as I walked down the tee lines and looked at them both, and that was on President's Day, all of the tee spots were full, and all of them were full of people under the age of 50. Some of them were hitting balls, working on their game. Some were just hitting balls. But incredibly, there's at least one group at each place that was playing simulator golf in 75-degree weather in Arizona. One of them was playing Pinehurst. I don't remember what the other was. I said, this is really an eye-opener to me, the fact that the gamification of golf, Top Golf, Top Tracer, is gonna retain some young people in the game, and I'm excited about how maybe we can figure out how to use that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's an area of fascination for me as well. I've always heard back to the first time I went to Korea, how they said that they play more indoor rounds in South Korea than we play outdoor rounds in America. And I think I don't know if we'll ever catch it, but we're moving in that direction where more types of activities are being classified as golf by us and by the customer. Justin, I'll finish with you. Have you had that same experience too with getting those alternative games as a part of your operations?
Well, it's something we're still exploring, but one of the stats I did hear at Golf Business was there are now more non-traditional golfers than actual golfers. So people that are playing simulator golf and games, and that just, I'm always looking to find a way to expand our audience. I mean, only 10% of the population plays golf. We got to do better than that. And all of a sudden, here's a market that's interested in our product or something that we can offer outside of our current 10%. We need to tap into that, and we're going to find out the best way to do it and make it happen.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about the entertainment and the experience, and whether they're playing golf or hitting in bays or just having some McNuggets, at the bar. The key is they're there, right? So let's get them there and let's keep them there. That's awesome. Jeff, Justin, thank you so much as always for your insight, for your experience, and for your hard work in keeping your facilities open. And I will do sort of a Pennsylvania versus Michigan thing. We'll try to make some sort of competition between you guys this year, and I'll let people know how that turns out. Okay, I'll come see you at your place.
That sounds great.
Very good. Good to see you, Justin. Awesome. Good to see you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Take care, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. That's Justin Smith of Old Homestead Golf Club, Jeff Hoag of Scott Lake Golf Club. Again, I just love listening to it. You can see why I love doing that segment, because you always get something new. There are such creative thinkers out there in this industry. And when we get a forum like this where people are having these great ideas, and more importantly, willing to share them with others and not hoard them and try to keep that knowledge to themselves, I think it's just a beautiful thing. It warms my heart, and it's cold here, so I need some heartwarming. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back with House Chat my other favorite thing. So grab yourself a beverage and a crunchy snack, and we'll be right back. Michael Williams of Golf Business Live, powered by Supreme Golf. See you in a minute.
Supreme Golf is proud to be an executive partner of the NGCOA. And whether you're looking to drive recurring revenue with our market-leading public membership software or sell additional tee times on Barstool Golf Time and Supreme Golf at no cost and where you control the data and the pricing, please reach out.
Welcome back to Golf Business Live, powered by Supreme Golf. Your host, Michael Williams here. And wow, we need a jingle for this. I got to get the guys, Taylor and Harry, to work on a jingle for House Chat. It's the House Chat segment. It'd be nice to come into the segment like with a little jingle, little rhyme, things like that. Those guys aren't working hard enough. Yes, they work very hard. We'll get them on a jingle for this one. All that is to say, it's time for House Chat, where we really talk to the people who are making your business better, easier, faster, all those good things. Today, we have some folks who were with us there at the Golf Business Conference in Orlando. They are working with one of those things that seems to be a huge issue year in, year out for golf course owners, which is card processing, your payment systems. Integral part of your business, essential part of your business, and these people are going to try to help make it better. Please welcome Sarah McKee, who is the managing partner, and Trevor Bastien, who's the director of sales for 100 Group. Sarah, Trevor, welcome to Golf Business Live.
Thank you, Mike.
House Chat.
Happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And Sarah, I'm going to start off with you, and just to get a little description, if you give us sort of a description and mission and vision for those of us who aren't familiar with 100 Group.
Absolutely. So 100 Group is primarily a payment processor. We do have other services that we offer, but our focal and our model has always been getting involved and intimate with an industry so that we can understand the inner workings and each industry and how they process. And we've been in the golf industry since about 2017 in our ventures. And so we focus on payments, we focus on processing and best practices, working with golf course owners to streamline funding, lower rates, and we are endorsed and the exclusive provider of the NGCOA, which took about 2 years of working with and talking to the NGCOA to create a program that is beneficial to the NGCOA members. So that's a little bit about 100 Group and where our focus is and our specialties are. And we're excited to be a part of the industry and see the growth and continue to grow in the industry.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you and talk a little bit more about your specific workings with the golf industry and those things that are particular and peculiar about the golf industry when it comes to payment processing. Trevor, you were at the Golf Business Conference. Tell us a little bit about your impressions from that particular event. It's good to be back and see everybody for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's great, Michael. Our impressions of the Golf Business Conference was awesome. I mean, we've been a part of a lot of different verticals in our time with 100 Group, but the NGCOA just goes above and beyond how, they put on a show for us. I mean, they, from support to service with us and just being there, for marketing purposes and whatnot. They just exemplified that during the Golf Business Conference. It was awesome to see a lot of familiar faces from MCOR. It was also awesome just to meet some new faces as well. So for us, it was a big time hit, and we can't wait till next year.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'll come back to you to talk about the climate for credit card processing in the industry. And I want to ask a question that starts at more of a helicopter view of card processing in general, because, I mean, presumably almost every business on the planet works at some level with payment processing, electronic payment processing, credit cards, that sort of thing. And I personally, maybe it is an issue for every industry, but I've never heard it be that much of an issue for restaurants or for other things. And maybe it is. It is, but in the golf industry, which I'm deeply connected with, we hear a lot about the costs and the difficulties and the lack of customers, or all these things. Is that something that happens across all industries, or is there just something particularly problematic about the golf industry?
So that's a great question. I do not think it's specific to the golf industry. I do think that there are factors that contribute to the challenges that we have also been seeing and working closely with the NGCOA on for the golf industry. So there are industry specific where when you have industry focused point of sale, CRM systems, golf management systems, it gets a little bit more complicated on the inner workings of the processing. So some of the challenges that golf course owners that you're hearing about with pricing and service and things of that nature is exactly why a endorsed or recognized processor is important in the industry. So the short answer to your question is it is spread amongst several industries, not all, but several. And service should be a focal of each credit card processor. And I think that that's why there's opportunity for a credit card processor such as ourselves to work in these verticals and become intimate and familiar, because then we have that commitment to the industry, right? So when someone like the NGCOA vets out and explores a partner or a vendor that really gives you that it gives you that commitment from the vendor to ensure that they're going to take care of the client. So service is something that I think is in each individual credit card processor. And then that ties to the golf management systems where in this industry, there have been some golf management systems that have been acquired by processors or opened up credit card processors, which limits the options for the golf course owner. And in that case, what we're doing on our side as a good partner to the NGCOA is just taking a look and confirming and advising those clients on where they're at and those operators on where they're at on their pricing, because that gives them a little bit less of a negotiation power when they have one option, one service. So our hopes is to expand that in the industry and just continue to be supportive and provide education. But it is spread across multiple verticals, especially those who have industry specific management systems.
Gotcha. Interesting. And yeah, love to have the options. Monopoly's great as a board game, as bad as a business practice. So
100%.
Yeah, love that you're giving people options. And I love the way you also use the word partnership repeatedly. One of my favorite words when it comes to operations of anything. Trevor, I'll turn it over to you, because we have folks who set the policy for customer service and being a partnership. You as a boots on the ground guy, is the guy who has to make that happen. And again, credit card, a transaction is kind of a commodity. So like the real difference is the differentiators are going to be price and service. So how do you make both of those things happen for your customers?
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. So for us, it's really simple. We provide a VIP service to our clients. It seems like one of those things where it's the race to zero on credit card processing fees. But what a lot of these processors are forgetting is the value of support and service. So for instance, each one of my clients, golf course owners and operators, have my direct cell phone number and email. And as you know, Michael, the busiest time for, a golf course owner is the weekends. And, for us, I always have my cell phone on me, so it's really easy to get a hold of me. So a great analogy for us is like we're the Ritz-Carlton, but we have Marriott prices. We're going to always be there for you, but give you that, VIP service within your credit card processing. A few examples would be, we help with chargebacks, 24/7 customer support on that, and then as well as PCI compliance. PCI compliance is a thing that the majority of business owners don't like to do, but it has to be done. So we have a team that is able to do that and help guide through those questions. So those are just a few of the things that we do for customers that are with us.
And that same team, Michael, if I can add to that, Trevor, absolutely. Trevor is one that is ready to pick up his phone at all times. He is on the clock 24/7, but he has a team assigned in behind him. So even though Trevor may be that first call, he has a dedicated team to each industry we service, and they are we have an on-call system readily available so that business does not stop, as Trevor said, on a Saturday. So we're going to have folks in place to assist or be ready to help resolve come Monday morning.
Outstanding. And Trev, we do have this recorded, so you can use this at your next annual review. Okay, that was very high.
Awesome.
She just
I love that.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Just turn on the tape, hit play. Okay, when it comes to the whole performance review this year, you have our permission to use that. Sir, I'm going to stay with you. Bring your points there, and I want to talk a little about sort of specific problems again that a golf course operator faces when using an outdated system, because probably people have a preferred vendor, and maybe they have been with them for a while and haven't looked, but maybe, and they get used to certain problems. I know when I was in operations, there were just things that you're too busy to go to try to get something new when you figure out a workaround. So you hit Control A, Shift C, turn off the printer, turn on the faucet, and then it'll start working again, and you just get used to it just so you can get through the day, the 100 days march of the golf season. What were the sort of some of the typical problems you see with people using outdated systems, and does it manifest itself in a higher cost to them? Are they paying for their trouble literally?
That's a really great question. So that's multifold. Since we're all intertwined, right? We do have golf courses that are using their own management system and the processing outside of it. So even if they're using outdated terminals or older terminals or gateways per se, or the software itself, and they have a processor that's been a long time. So some of the issues they'll run into is efficiency, right? Just for their business overall. So best practices. They may be able to simplify that by using an updated software or new software. They might be missing out on features that have been built and added. For example, there are some legacy systems that, as opposed to the newer cloud-based systems that are converting to. So benefits there as far as taking away the burden of the manual labor, or as you said, the Control A, Control C, where it can automatically streamline within each system and communicate together. Secondary to that is the capture of data, right? PCI compliance, being compliant and capturing as much data as possible is important, not only for security and chargebacks, but for rate. The more information that you capture and pass through your systems, the better, the less the risk there is, right? So your chip or your swipe, however that card is being accepted, or even if it's entered in manually, all of the information passing through those systems targets a different interchange rate on the cost, which all processors are committed to the same bottom line rate. And so making sure that data is completely passing at a level 3 of data is one of them. The efficiencies of the business and features that they may be missing out on that are available to them. And then, of course, as Trevor mentioned, the PCI compliance part of it. If you have older systems, the SAQs, which are the tests and the systems that you go through in order to make yourself compliant, are going to be a little bit harder because you have to confirm some more items there.
Okay, so as a guy who I am old enough to have used one of the card slider things, like a ka-chunk. So my head is literally swimming right now. I know if I was an operator, I'd be interested in all of these things, but I'd like to have somebody come and explain to me. Trevor, I'll give you the opportunity to make the invitation to folks. Do you have sort of a process or a product where you come in and sort of assess what people are using now, and then give sort of an estimate for what you could do better?
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah. So what we do, we have a 3-step process. So our first step is, building that relationship with that first call, introducing us, telling them who we are. And from there, we want to see their statements, their monthly processing statements. From there, we have a analysis team that puts together a nice proposal from them. And why they're doing that, Michael, and this is, another thing that separates us, is we like to do a thing called a discovery call. That's where we, ask all those questions. What kind of software are you with? How long have you been with your software provider for? What kind of terminals are you with? Are you using Wi-Fi? Are you using Ethernet? Are you using dial-up still? Some people still use dial-up, believe it or not. So we get those questions all answered so we could put together a nice story for them. So when we go over that proposal, we're not just selling off price. We sell off the value of our service and what we know and what we can improve, not only to, of course, lower their costs, but in the same breath, make their life easier and more advanced in today's date.
And that statement tells a story, not just their rates, right? That statement shows their trends of what they're processing, the types of cards that they're accepting, percentages, and we dive into that part of it. Of course, we look at the rates they're paying and the markup and the premiums and all of the fun part of the statement. But in addition to that, the statement also shows trends in processing card types, and we're able to see where those cards are landing. So looking at it from an analytic perspective, we're going to, on most statements, along with the discovery, we're going to be able to see if that merchant is accepting, or that golf course owner is accepting 30% of this type of card at a level 2, how can we get them to a level 3? Is it missing data, antiquated system? Which part of that can we help them fix besides just the rate?
Oh, so much information. There's so much to learn and so much to benefit from. Very quickly, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so best way to contact me is just, my email, Trevor, Trevor, at 100group.com. Or you could get a hold of me on my direct line at 616-607-0071.
He wasn't kidding about that phone number thing. Okay, there you go. It's out.
You call me, man. I'm an open book. I love talking to people. So
as I say, call anytime. Operators are standing by. That's awesome. Hey, Sarah, Trevor, thank you so much for taking the time. This has really been educational for me, and I'm sure it has been for our audience. And can't wait for you to come back in again when you have something else to tell us about the organization. You always have a soapbox to stand on and a megaphone to talk into here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support of the NGCOA, and we're looking forward to working closely with them to help all NGCOA members.
Yep. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. That's Sarah McKee and Trevor Bastien of 100 Group. Look, my old owner, when I was running golf courses, said we don't want to have a hole in the drawer. And he was talking about the cash drawers. So all those little things when you have money coming in, that as soon as you put a quarter in, you have a quarter size hole in the drawer that is letting money out. You want to make sure that your transactions, which is such an integral part of your business, are working smoothly and working for you instead of against you. You don't want to have any friction in that. And I love companies like that are always working not only on their technology and their process, but they're also working on being better people, better service people for you. Working knowing that it's a people business. Even though we try to automate things, it's all about people, isn't it? So really enjoyed that conversation. I hope you did too. That is all for this edition of Golf Business Live, powered by Supreme Golf. As always, been a pleasure to bring this to you. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell a friend, send a link, and we'll see you back here for the next show. Again, Michael Williams for Harry and Taylor and all the team at NGCOA. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.